So, me and my family got stranded on an island this weekend, and it honestly wasn't even the worst part of my weekend. Let me give a little bit of backstory. So, 2 or 3 times a year, my family takes a trip out on our boat to an island in the Gulf of Mexico. This is the Gulf of Mexico, and the island we go to is about a 2 to 3 hour drive from our house, right here. Actually, it's right here. And we take our boat, just a little fishing boat that looks almost identical to this, out there about twice a summer. Now, last weekend was Labor Day, which means it's also our last time to try to go out to the islands. So we loaded me, my 2 brothers, one of my brother's girlfriends, and my mom and dad into the car on a dreary Monday morning and headed out to the island. Aside from a couple storm clouds in the distance, everything was going pretty much okay, until we started hearing lightning. I don't know if you know how dangerous lightning is when you're out on open water, or on an island that has an elevation of about 1 foot, but you're basically the highest thing around, which means that lightning is going to come straight for you. And seeing as me and my brothers are all 6'5" and above, it's coming right for us. So as soon as we heard lightning, we pretty much packed up everything from the beach, went to get in the boat, and head back to the mainland, which was about 15 miles away. Here's the thing, the engine wouldn't start. We were functionally stranded because we didn't have any way to get over there. We tried starting the engine a couple times, but eventually we gave up and started shouting down some of the other boat goers who were starting to flee the storm. It took a couple tries, but eventually 2 guys in 2 separate boats headed over to us. They were together. If I could describe these guys, I'd say they have Confederate flag tattoos on their backs and MAGA stickers on their trucks. They looked aggressively Southern, and to top it all off, we could kind of hear them arguing about whether they actually wanted to come and help us, and me, being an incredibly loud individual, shouted out that we were stuck and needed a tow. So they come over to us. They well, first of all, they are like, oh, is your motor actually on? Have you tried pulling out of the sand? And just being generally condescending, which is, you know, dick move. But after we troubleshooted for a little bit and decided that the motor was actually wrong and we weren't idiots, we asked them for a tow. They said no. Yeah. Well, what they actually said is they weren't really comfortable towing us, which isn't really a huge deal. I get it. If you're really not comfortable towing someone or you're worried it's going to be dangerous, that's not a huge thing. But they said it's because they wanted to keep fishing. Now, I don't know about you, but I've spent a lot of time on the water, and it's always been a kind of an unspoken rule that you give a hand to someone who needs it, especially if they need a tow and there's a lightning storm coming. So yeah, dick move. Anyways, they said they wouldn't tow us, which I could understand if you were worried about, like, say, your family's safety, but, you know, we could have very easily piled all of them onto one boat, because there was 2 boats. And then just sent one guy over to tow us, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. They said they'd give us their friend's number to call to give us a tow. Here's the thing, we didn't have cell phone service. Otherwise, we would have called a tow company ourselves, you know? And on an average day, a tow cost about $500 on a boat for how far we would have had to go. So they call their buddy on the radio, and he says it'll take him about 5 hours to get out to us. Keep in mind, there's a lightning storm heading right for us. Oh yeah, and it'll cost $1,000. As you can imagine, we didn't take that very well. They left, said their buddy would give us a call, and went off to go fuck around and fish, I guess. So at this point, we had 3 choices. We could wait the 5 hours till this asshole and their buddy came back with a boat and pay him $1,000 to tow, riding out a lightning storm in a boat that had only a tiny anchor and also no motor, or we could try beaching the boat and sheltering on the island. The only issue is we are once again the tallest thing on the island, and lightning is attracted to tall things. And finally, the third option. We were parked right about here. And there is a ranger station and a fort here, about 4 miles away. The only option we had was me and my 2 brothers to hop into the waist-deep water, which was as shallow as our boat could go, and push it 3.5 miles to the ranger station, who we're also pretty sure didn't have a boat. There's only one boat that really goes out to the island, and it's a tourist boat that's way too big to tow, and it only comes out twice a day, and it had also already gone back to shore. So with no other option really, and we weren't gonna wait around 5 hours for that guy, me and my brothers began pushing the boat. My younger brother was holding the front of the boat by a rope and pulling, while me and Josh were on the back pushing the boat. I was on this side, I had a hand on the cleat right there, and we just started pushing. It was less than pleasant, especially when the wind picked up. Because believe it or not, everything above this black line, where it goes from silver to black, is above the water. And when it gets windy, it basically turns into a giant metal sail. So there we are, pushing this boat, and I react to stressful situations with humor, so I'm cracking jokes and humming sea shanties, and holding onto the side of this boat like Captain America and the Winter Soldier, trying to keep it from blowing out to sea. And we're at this for about 30 minutes. We get about halfway there, we're actually right past this point, when lo and behold, a ship starts driving up. I actually think it's the same type of ship as one of the assholes who left us. And I actually think it's one of them, but it was actually a whole different guy. And he offered to tow us, which was frankly amazing because the storm was getting incredibly close. We tossed a couple lines from his boat to ours, transferred everybody but me, my dad, and my younger brother to the boat. By the way, we're all over 21. And he started towing us. The thing is, you can't go super fast when you're towing a boat. And there's no way to steer because we didn't have a rudder, we just had an outboard. We got about 5 minutes in when the wind picked up even more, and the first wave crashed over our bow. That threw me, my brother, and my dad into a scramble, because if one wave hit the boat the wrong way, we could capsize, we could sink. We scrambled for life vests, shoved all our phones and wallets and keys into a dry box, and basically hunkered down, because if the boat was going down, we were going to have to go down with it and swim to the other boat. Luckily, the boat's insured, so we wouldn't have lost much if we did, but it would have put a damper on our day. And also, luckily, it never actually capsized. It got close a couple times. I was hanging on for dear life, but eventually we made it close enough to land to get cell service, and you know what's the first thing I did on my phone? I checked my YouTube analytics. Grind never stops, baby! But here's the thing. We wanted to do something for the guy giving us a tow. I don't have a lot of money right now. I'm basically broke. All my money is going to either rent or saving up for the NASA cum hat. But I had about $300 that I was willing to pay this guy for giving us a tow. So as we're pulling up to the dock, I shout from our boat to his. I'm like, hey, do you have a Venmo? And he goes, don't worry about it. And I'm like, oh. I kind of want to give him money. What I was going to do was I was going to offer to pay for a half tank of his boat's gas, because it would have taken about a quarter tank for him to pull us there, and that would put him out on top, which I felt was reasonable. But he said don't worry about it, like a true good Samaritan, a wonderful guy, whose name I never got, and I kind of feel bad about. But anyways, he helped us tie off on the dock, and then between the 6 of us, we managed to scrounge up about $150 cash and slip it to him when he wasn't looking. Now, you might think that's where the story ends. After all, Speaker, you got stranded, but you survived. You made it back to shore. How could that have not been the worst part of your weekend? Well, we stopped and got food, and it gave me food poisoning. So as soon as I got home, I spent the entire night throwing up, which was just perfectly lovely. I hope you can hear the sarcasm. Alright folks, I need to sleep. Alright folks, I thought this was an interesting little story to share. If you want to see more story times like this, leave a comment down below. I'm definitely not going to stop doing my normal content, but I might intersperse stuff like this. Check out my latest video right here. I've been Speaker 4, and I will catch you on the flip side. Later!